Hello everyone. Today's poem is Wei Feng Qi Yu by Yi Ming, a Wei Wind poem from the Book of Songs. This poem is one of the very popular and famous poems among the 300 more poems in the Book of Songs because of the outstanding wording and the vocabularies it created, which actually we use it today very frequently. And this poem also a very excellent example how to praise and how to describe a honorable, noble, very magnificent male person. Very interestingly, the best poems in the Book of Songs to describe a female beauty was also in Wei Wind. These two poems not give us a very excellent and outstanding ways how to describe a male person or a female person, but they also created a lot of vocabularies we still use today. So before you read the Book of Songs or these two poems, those words created in these two poems actually is just like a very, very ordinary, normal term for today's Chinese. But after you have go through these two poems, whenever you saw those vocabularies used or quoted, and the meaning by the writers will be much more significant and with profound meanings. All those vocabularies are with 3,000 years history behind them. The title Qi Yu, so in today's Chinese we read it as Qi Ao, but in the Book of Songs it was read as Qi Yu. It means at the riverside of the Qi River. Qi River is the most famous rivers in the Bei State, Yong State, and Wei State. Basically, they are the one state under the Lord of Wei. And most probably the Lord resides and lives at the Wei State rather than in Yong State or Bei State. So that's why the Qi River was always referenced in the Wei Wind, but also in the Bei Wind and the Yong Wind, because this river is just outside the city where their Lord stayed, and they should have a very, very frequent connection, very close connection with their Lord, the Wei Lord. The title Qi Yu means the Cove of the Qi River. It could refers to a dedicated place for the Zhou people, or it could be referring any place along the Qi River. And normally the cove of the Qi River should be very fertile and wet place. In this poem, it described that the bamboo forest was very prosperously grown in the cove of Qi River. It was also recorded in the history book that the bamboo forest is very famous and popular along the riverside of Qi River. And until the Three Kingdoms time, the general ordered to cut all the bamboos and use the bamboo material to make the arrow. And since that time, the bamboo forest along the Qi River has gone. Now let's look at the first paragraph. 瞻彼淇奥，绿竹猗猗. There is another version of pronunciation. 瞻彼淇奥，绿竹猗猗. The last two characters either read yi or which means it's very big, grand, and also it has a very, very strong imply the beauty. And in the main side of the Zhou people, anything big, the people is taller, strong, big. It strong implies its beauty is good. So the first sentence means look at that cove of Qi River. The green bamboos are so grand and so big. They are so nice and so beautiful. 有匪君子，如切如磋，如琢如磨. So if you know some Chinese, you might feel something very familiar with. 切磋, 琢磨 is very frequent words today. And 切磋 means to practice with other people, like two players. They play kung fu and sometimes they want to play with each other. So it's so-called 切磋. And 琢磨 means think something over and over, have a second or third thought, think something over and over. Well, the meaning has a little bit changed, but it basically derived from this point. The meaning of 切磋琢磨 basically refers to the craftsman work when they dealing with the material of bone, ivory, jade, and gemstone separately. So 切 is the craftsman work for bone, to make the bone as a artwork. 磋 is the craftsman work to dealing with the ivory, and finally they use the 磋, this work, to make the ivory as a artwork. So that's the term 琢 for jade, 磨 for gemstones. All these artwork, also together with the materials, are very, very delicate for the noble people, especially for the kings. The best breed of the artwork made of the bone, ivory, jade, and gemstone are dedicated to the kings, to the Lord of Wei. So here, the specialty in this sentence is it parallels the virtue of the Lord of Wei. 有匪君子. Is there a Lord? They have the virtue that, like the craftsman's work, to dealing with the bone, ivory, jade, and gemstones. So this is a very outstanding and unique metaphor when we saw in the Book of Science, because normally we parallel the virtue or a person to something, like the ivory, the jade, the silk, the best breed of the material or things. Well, with this sentence, it parallels the virtue of the person or the person himself to the long process work, the fine art work, when they dealing or making the artwork by 切磋琢磨. So it's not only the quality, the material itself, but also it needs long term of dedication, very fine very patient work with the most excellent skills. So with all those things, the time, the efforts, and together with the quality by itself, finally it makes something great. The artwork make the artwork great. So this is very unique in the time of Book of Songs, and thus made the word last till today. 切磋琢磨. So okay, so this is the most popular and important parts in this poem as to today's people. The character 匪, 有匪君子, normally was interpreted as a long word of 非, which means brilliant, bright. So with this normal interpretation, this sentence is 有匪君子 means there is a brilliant, bright Lord. But I have looked through other poems in the Book of Songs. There's also other sentences with 匪, but they always means negative, which almost equivalent to no. So I would rather to interpret the term 匪 as its usual meaning, no or 无. So in this way, this sentence is almost like today's sentence, 有无君子, which means is there a lord, or is there a lord or not, who have the virtue of 切磋琢磨. So I think the questioning sentence is much more poetry-like rather than there is a brilliant Lord. The third pair of sentence, 瑟兮僑兮，赫兮咑兮. So the term 兮 is a sign, exclaim over words. So whenever you saw this, you know the character before it is sort of the adjective, and it's mainly to express the exclaim over something or someone. Of course, in this poem, everything is about the Lord of Wei. 瑟 means decent. 僑 means very powerful. And 赫 means red. And 咑 means bright. So it didn't tell us what aspect or what part of the Lord this adjective was about. But normally, 瑟, decent, is referring to the outlook, and 僑 also refers to the outlook. The Lord looks like very decent gentleman and with powerful appeals. 赫 normally refers to the face, red face, which is always appeared in the Book of Songs, and which means noble and great. 咑 means bright, so it means when the Lord come over, it make the feelings that everything is bright, or everything around the Lord was bright, shining. So that's very quite normal writing techniques today, but you can see the very original root from this poem. The fourth pair of sentence, 有匪君子，终不可谖兮. So we saw the term 兮 again. So it's exclaim over the Lord again. So it could interpret like this: is there a Lord like this. When I saw him, I could never forget him anymore. 终 the ending. So until the end of something. 不可 I could never. 缘 forget. So until the end of day, until the end of life, I would never forget this Lord, this brilliant, magnificent, decent, powerful Lord. The first paragraph started at the Cove of Qi River with the grand, brilliant bamboo forest along the river, which actually paralleled the Lord of Wei, who was grand, brilliant as well. And then the poet paralleled the Lord of Wei to many fine artwork, the process of the fine artwork of the bone, the jade, the ivory, the gemstones. So this is a quite unique writing technique. And later on, he writes more directly. The Lord is decent, powerful. Her outlook is red and shining. And the most interesting and very unique writing is he used the questions, is there a Lord? From the whole poem, actually, we know when the poet was writing this poem, he was seeing the Lord was somewhere at the cove of the Qi River, and he still wondered, is there a Lord like this? So you can see how strong the feeling it is. Now the second paragraph is almost identical to the first paragraph. Just imagine in the time of Book of Songs, this is a song, so the lyrics in each paragraph repeat again and again. It's quite almost same as today. 瞻彼淇奥，绿竹青青. So almost identical. Look at those cove of Qi River. The bamboo forests are so green. So in the first paragraph, it's the bamboo forests are so brilliant and grand. 有匪君子，充耳琇莹. Does this sound familiar? 充耳, the decoration on the ear, normally made of the jade or by the glasses. 琇莹 is so shining, bright, and beautiful. We have this in another two poems, 君子偕老 and 毛秋. So they always like to describe this decoration, 充耳, to simulate, to parallel the quality, the virtue of the Lord. 会弁如星. 会辩 is the cap for a man, and so here it means the cap, the head of the Lord is like shining stars. So the cat never shines. It means most probably in that time there's so many gemstones, jewelries decorated on the head. So that's how it's shining like stars. The third pair of sentences. 瑟兮僑兮，赫兮咑兮. 100% identical to the first paragraph. So decent, so powerful, so red and so bright, shining. So this is the outlook of the Lord. The fourth pair of sentences. 有匪君子，终不可谖兮. Same, 100% same as the first paragraph. Is there a Lord like this, that when I saw him once, I could never forget him? So the second paragraph is almost identical to the first paragraph, but give us a little bit more details, the outlook, the decorations of the Lord, the 充耳, the jade on the ear, and the cap, the hat is like shining star decorated with a lot of the jewelries, gemstones. Okay, now the third paragraph, almost identical, but a little bit more variations from the second paragraph. 瞻彼淇奥，绿竹如玑. The term "ji" is a loan word of "ji", which means stacked, very crowdedly stacked. So the meaning is, look at that cove of Qi River. The green bamboos are so densely crowded, so prosperous. 有匪君子，如金如锡，如圭如璧. Is there a Lord like the precious metal of gold and tin, like the jade of Gui and Bi? So here, most probably the gold refers to the copper, and the Xi is tin, of course, because in the time of Zhou dynasty, the most important metal is the bronze. The bronze is made of copper and tin. And they're also in the ancient China. The general term for all metals is jin, but today jin only refers to gold. So there's a big difference from the ancient time and today. So if we from the perspective of the Zhou people, here the term jin most probably would refer to copper. 宽兮绰兮，以猗较兮. 猗较 is a structure on the chariot that the Lord, the noble people, taken. It's for the rest of the arms. And this sentence means so broad it is, so slowly it is. And the Lord was resting his arm on the 猗较. Since the third paragraph, the praise and the description of the Lord is getting more real and focused. So in the first paragraph, the poet paralleled the Lord to some of the very complicated process of making the artwork. And in the second paragraph, the poet described all the decoration, the clothing of the Lord. And in the third paragraph, the poet goes to describe the Lord directly. He was resting his arm on 猗较. He was standing on that ground, slow chariot. So it's just like the movie today. We have a very, very close look in the third paragraph, and it makes the character, makes the figure more vividly. Okay, the last sentence is very interesting and funny. 善戏谑兮，不为虐兮. He's good at play gaming and kidding, but he would never do harm to anybody. 善 is good at, 戏 play game or play game with someone. 虐 is killing someone. So he was so good at making a joke, kidding with everybody, but he would never hurt others. 虐 is hurt others. So this actually gives us another very important aspect of the Lord. At the very beginning, in the first and second paragraph, the Lord is decent, powerful, and with a lot of the decorations all show he's the most powerful and noble person on this land. And this normally would keep away the people from the Lord. But by the last 8 characters, the poet point out that the Lord is always with his people, and he was just like a neighborhood uncles with his peoples. He's playful. He play games with his people. He's kidding with his people, and he would never hurt anybody. So this gave us a all-around aspect of this Lord, and this is so outstanding in the poems in which is written 3,000 years ago. It's a great poem writing about a person, a great person, and the writing techniques and the vocabularies is the great asset for us. Okay, that's for this poem. And remember the wordings. 如切如磋，如琢如磨，善戏谑兮，不为虐兮。That's the most valued virtues and characters for a great person. Bye bye for today.